big fish. How about that? Well, you join me at the latter stages of a session. The weather is predicted to get much worse than it is right now. I am fishing a lovely little snake lake. I've been priming a line down these margins. It's a line that I've been dying to fish ever since I got here a few days ago, and that's because I've heard that there are quite a few barbel in this little snake lake. I've been priming this line with lots and lots of red maggots. I've been big potting them in. I haven't been on it yet. I'm fishing towards the platform at the next peg. I am fishing with the pole, so I'm just going to go in over the top of it with a nice big bunch of maggots on. I've heard that the barbel in here run, some people say up to £5, but I have heard some people say £8 or £9, so any sort of a fish that size on the pole is going to be very exciting. The weather is a bit rough, but I'm just going to whack a few maggots on that big hook that I've got, and I'm going to ship it underneath that platform next to me, and hopefully there's going to be some exciting sport waiting for us. So like I said, I've been big potting maggots down the margin, a lot of maggots. I've got about 3 pints with me left now, so if they're going to respond to maggots, then that's exactly what I'll be giving them. I've been big potting in with a 150mm pole pot. I've got some dead reds, but I have got some live ones as well. Okay, so you can see what kind of quantities there. That's probably 3/4 full, so that's about 100mm each time. Okay, obviously I can decrease that or increase that as the bites dictate. It's only 6 sections down to the next platform, but I'm going to make sure I've got a section under my arm behind me in case I hook a fish and it runs down the bank and I need to follow it. It just gives me an extra metre to follow them out. The rig is simple, I'll show you that in a moment. I'm expecting to hook 1 or 2 better fish. There are carp in here as well, but obviously we all know how hard fighting the barbel are. If we're going to catch some, if we're going to find some, I'm hoping we are, and I'm targeting them in this shallower water next to the platform. Barbel love maggots, we know that. I'm just going to kick off. This is a size 14 hook I've got on. Alright, an MXC 3 I think it is, and I've got 4 maggots on there. Got a bit of a bulk rig, I'll show you that in more detail in a moment, but let's get the rig out. There's quite a bit of tow on it, and it's towing that way, so it's going to be coming back to me. So I've got a float on that's a little bit heavier than normal. Straight away, took that on the drop. More fish. I think small fish could be a problem, but I mean that one took on the drop, so if that is the case, I'm just going to keep piling more and more maggots in. I'm going to have to shorten that lash just to be able to control the float better. It's a little bit wild now, as you can see, so I'm just going to shorten that to just a few inches, and then I'll be able to control the float much better. There we go, that'll give me much more control. I could back shot it, but I'm not going to. If need be, I will do. Let's just get some more maggots on. 4 maggots again, and I'm just going to keep piling those maggots in. I'm going to try and force those small fish out of the peg and try and force the interests of some bigger fish. Well, that one just hooked itself, it just ran out of the peg. That is what barbel can be like, changing direction quickly. I don't know what it is. It's not a big fish actually. It's a carp. Is it a crucian or an F1? Let's have a look. Beautiful looking fish. There we go. just hooked itself. Yeah, you don't miss bites like that, do you? What I'm going to do is just have a couple of drops in without feeding each time, and I'm just going to keep forcing the peg. I've got loads of maggots here to use, so I'm just going to keep banging them in. Again, I'm fishing on a really steep slope, and if the wind and tow wasn't like this, I'll be able to present it much more accurately. So I'm just kind of laying the rig into the slope itself, so when it's a little bit closer to the platform it's shallower, and then I can just ease the float down the shelf. And that, again, that fish just ran out of the peg. What we got this time? Is it our target? Let's have a look. Not a huge fish. No, it's another F1. A bit bigger, that one. Really chunky fish. Brilliant. Incredible how they just swam out of the peg, just hooking themselves, and the elastic comes flying out. Brilliant. I'm going to stay positive, so I'm going to put another pot of bait in now. Keep them going in. I just held on the slope that time. That's why the bristle was showing up a little bit more. There's only about ½ an inch of the float actually showing when the float is sitting correctly. But obviously when it's slightly up that slope, that last shot or last stot is actually sitting on the bottom. F1. These are lovely fish, these. Sure, we might be able to catch those closer if we was to fish, you know, 3 or 4 meters. I've only just fed, so I'm not going to feed this time. I haven't fed anything else, just maggots, no pellets, no corn. Like I say, my target is to catch a barbel. I'd love to get one of the barbel in here, and all the commercials where they catch barbel, you know, maggot tends to be one of the favoured baits. Yeah, there's lots of fish there now. Looks like there's quite a few F1s in this lake. Not that I'm complaining. We've got a rud. I think we've got a rud this time. Yeah, we are. Look at the colours on that. Beautiful fish. Those are fish that tend to live or feed up in the water. That's why they've got an upturned mouth. As you can see, that's for feeding in the upper layers. I'm not going to feed again just yet. I'm just going to fish that one out. That feels a different fish, or a bigger fish. Just swam out of the peg, just down that slope. This one's a slower fish, this one. The thing is, when you're fishing on steep slopes, whatever bait isn't getting eaten is obviously working its way down the slope. So inevitably it's going to end up at the bottom of that slope if it doesn't get eaten. So because I'm putting so much bait in, that might be why. That's just moved my drop shot. Nice little fish. Basically, I think that's a 5-inch hook length. I've got a size 14 hook. I've got one stot there as a telltale shot, if they still call it that. And then I've got 3 bigger stots there, just as a spread bulk, and that is it up until the float. It's a 4/16 float. Like I say, it's a little bit heavier than normal, but it is towing, and obviously, as you've probably seen, it's a little bit difficult controlling the float with this gusting wind. Silverfish this time, so if it's a roach. I don't know if there are eyes in here. Let's have a look what this one is. It's a roach, that one. Proper mixed bag now. But not the elusive barbel, not yet. I'm going to keep big potting these maggots in, just try and force off these small fish. As we know that as the time of day goes on, it's later in the afternoon or towards the second part of the afternoon is when, you know, we know lots of fish come down these margins. So I'm going to keep big potting those maggots in, keep ploughing through these little fish, and who knows what else is going to turn up. I'm sure we're going to nail one. This is a much slower fish, this one. As soon as I hooked it, went straight to the bottom and it's worked its way out into the middle. It's staying deep, this one, but it's much slower. The bites have definitely slowed down now, so it may appear that I've fed those small fish off, and this might be a sign that one or two better fish are going to get a chance of getting to the bait. Stay much deeper, this one. Again, well, I've got 5 maggots on this time, but the bites have definitely slowed down. The only downside to when you're big potting baiting, especially at this range, is that you can't feed that line while you're playing fish. That's the beauty when you're feeding somewhere by hand. When you're playing fish like this, you can be setting the line up ready for your next fish. There he is. Big fish. Well, just shows you we don't know what's grubbing around down there, do we? There we go. Margin munters. Definitely need to refeed now. And that might signal now that there's some better fish are going to get a chance to get to the bait. Big mouth, look at the mouth. Long fish. As soon as I hooked that, I could tell it was a better fish. It was just staying really deep. Let's get him back and get some more bait in. We've just had a spell where we've just been catching roach after roach after roach. Very enjoyable fishing, but it's not helping to achieve the target. I've kept on putting 100mm of maggots in with the big pot. It's just slowed down a little bit, and I've just hooked a better fish. It was hugging the bottom and it swung round to the middle, and now it's just gone up to the left now. But it's definitely a heavier fish. We've just had about 30 minutes without any rain as well, which was nice. But it'll be interesting to see what this is. Could be another carp, I think. There he is. Another big fish. How about that? 1 minute you're catching 1 and 2 ounce roach, and the next minute you're into a double. You know, it's a size 14 hook. I think it's 15 hook length. It's just matched tattle. It's good because you can catch those 1 and 2 pound fish. As you've seen, we've caught some really nice roach, and this gear's just balanced for that. But it does also mean that when you're hooking fish like that, you're still going to be able to land them because your tattle's balanced. How about that for a perch? Wow, look at that. Really big perch, that one. Fantastic fish. Oh, guess what we've got? We've hooked one. You can't say we've landed it. And I'll show you how I've hooked this. We've got one. That's taking some doing. What I've actually done is, I'll tell you, I'll show you in a minute. But there we go, there's the first barbel. We've got one. Not a big fish, but there we go. We've actually got one. A couple of pound, maybe a little bit more. Got loads of energy in, built like a torpedo. What a beautiful fish. Absolutely gorgeous fish, aren't they? What I've done is, I found the same depth as what I've got down the edge, but across towards the other bank. Stunning fish. Beautiful fish. Let's get him pot back. What I basically did was I put a plummet on, and there are so many silverfish down this inside. I've fed 2 pints of maggots now, and I just cannot get rid of them. There are that many silverfish there. All I did was I put a plummet on, I've left the rig set at the same depth, the exact same rig, and I've shipped across to the other bank, and I've just found that same depth but over there, and I put a big pot of maggots in, and I've left it for 15 minutes. I've gone over the top and I've had a couple of small fish. It's really quite close to that other bank, just to try the presentation in a different area of the swim, and obviously we've just got one. It was just hooked itself, the float flew under and it hooked itself, so thankfully we've got the first barbel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to top that line up again. As far as I'm concerned, it's mission accomplished, but it'd be nice to see if we can catch any more now. They just might be more comfortable over there towards that other bank, so I'm going to put another pot in and see if we can catch another one. That's just half the pot that I'm putting in now, so it's a 150ml pot, so it's about 75ml of maggots. Just keep them zipped up. A bit tricky in this wind, as you can imagine, but I'm going to take my time, get it on that right spot. There. And then I'm just going to go straight over the top of that with 3 maggots on. There's another fish straight away. I just pushed it slightly further across that time, so this rig actually will have been just over depth. The length of line between the tip and the float should be longer for fishing over there, but as you know, this is a little F1. But as you know, this is my rig for fishing down the margin, so it's too late to put another rig on. A nice back shot would be good as well, but whoops. Come on, pop you back. We'll just fish that big pot out now, see if we can get another barbel. Well, guess what? We've got another one. Looks like that seems to be the best place to catch them, right underneath that other bank. Not a big fish, same as the last one really. It's another barbel, fantastic. It just shows you that the same rig, the same depth, the same bait, but presented in a slightly different part of the swim. It just goes to show that, you know, we always have to cover our options, you know, because we never really know where the fish are going to be. He's still fighting me, he's got loads of energy in him. Beautiful fish. We've found some, but it's been a test, but it's really been worth it. Well, I've got to openly admit that I thought this challenge was going to be a little bit easier than what it actually turned out to be. There are simply so many fish in here. By targeting a venue like this with maggots, it's inevitable you're going to be catching and attracting fish of all different species and sizes. It just goes to show that just by making a little change of where I was actually fishing has actually got us the target fish that we were after. I used the same rig, the same depth, and even the same bait, but just presented it in a slightly different place within the swim, closer to that other bank, and it was almost instant until we actually caught the fish that we was after, which was a beautiful barbel. We then went on to catch another one as well, and I'm sure if I carried on fishing, I'm sure we'd catch some more as well. So it's been a really interesting session. I've really enjoyed it. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you want to see more videos like this and get more involved with the channel, just hit subscribe. And if you want to see more session videos like this from lots of different venues, then check out the videos just there. So thanks for watching. I'm looking forward to going, having a nice hot shower and getting dry, and I look forward to seeing you next time.